Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Mr. Nanda Avalis, distinguished delegates, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure for me to be with you today and addressing to such a distinguished audience. The South China Sea is unquestionably one of the busiest international sea lanes in the world, with Bill Hayton describing it as the throat of global routes. However, activities within the South China Sea are not only about seaborne trade and navigation. There is also considerable exploitation and exploration of natural resources, such as natural gas, oil, and fish stocks. The claimant states of the South China Sea are Indonesia, Vietnam, the Philippines, China, Taiwan, Brunei, and Malaysia. While several international companies from the countries of such as the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, India, Russia, and Australia are also involved in commercial activities in the South China Sea. However, China's long-standing dispute with a number of coastal states has resulted in the South China Sea being labeled as troubled waters or a flashpoint. Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei have the area overlapping China's so-called nine-dash line claim in the South China Sea. Now, withstanding these claims, the South China Sea issue has a much broader implication for maritime security, peace, stability, and security in the region. Coastal states' interests are centered on maritime boundaries, territorial sovereignty, and the right to exploit the region's resources, while many other countries' interests are to secure their sea lines of communications or SLOCs and in satisfying their national geopolitical strategies. For example, Japan and South Korea's interests are to secure their SLOCs, for trade and oil transport. China displayed the nine-dash line to Indonesia officials on a map of China's nine-dash line in 1993. At that time, Chinese officials and Indonesian officials met in a second meeting of an Indonesian organized workshop on managing potential conflict in the South China Sea. Looking at these Chinese claims, the Indonesian government has quickly challenged China's position by sending a diplomatic letter asking the basis of the Chinese claim of Natuna and didn't receive any response. Jakarta has deliberately ignored the core issue, namely China's aggressive ambitions in the South China Sea. The South China Sea is a critical commercial and strategic marine highway between East Asia, the Middle East, and Europe with rich ocean fisheries and potentially rich sub-seabed energy resources. The fish stocks in Indonesia's Natuna have become an increasingly valuable natural fish resource as near-coast South China Sea fisheries are being depleted by pollution and uncontrolled overfishing. South China has become a deadlocked issue that there is no final solution to be achieved. The increasing economic power of China has changed the defensive posture to an aggressive one. I argue that the humble hard power is sufficient to explain the dynamics of Indonesian foreign policy towards the South China Sea dispute. Indonesia, as an independent regional power, which are not yet locked into an alliance with the West, is capable of using a humble hard power approach by using its legal and moral authority to force the claimant's countries to seriously complete the COC. The Jokowi administration has the ability to close the gap between Indonesia's national interest in the contested issues in the South China Sea and its aggressiveness on South China Sea issues. The emphasis of non-military means and the focus of economic bilateral cooperation seriously undermines the possibility of a war in the dispute. I would like to thank everyone for giving their time for hearing my speech. Thank you.